You're listening to a Prairie Punk House Companion right here on the Prairie Punk Press Network. The views expressed by any host or any guest on the Prairie Punk House Companion are the personal views or opinions of the people who express them and do not reflect the views or opinions of anyone else on the show or any company, employer, or any other organization that the individual expressing them has or will affiliate with in the past, present, or future. Hi everyone, you're listening to a Prairie Punk House Companion. We are now on episode 29, and I'm still bummed about the death of Michelle Trachtenberg. My name is Neckbone.
Hi, I'm Jerbear. In other sad news, that comet that everybody was, or the asteroid that everybody thought was going to hit Earth in like 8 years or something, turns out it's not going to hit Earth. So
Oh,
that's pretty tragic as well. That we
damn.
will all be around for a little
Yeah.
bit longer, I suppose.
Is it going to hit
But
anywhere? Is it hitting anybody? Venus?
I don't know.
Mercury? I mean, nobody lives there.
Uranus.
I think it's already
I
past that.
I had to do
Yeah.
it.
You're
Uh,
gonna Neil deGrasse Tyson's gonna call you and scold you for getting your
Man,
planets
fuck
wrong.
that guy. Fuck that creeper.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Thanks for reminding me. Yeah.
it's a bummer.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a guest with us tonight. We have Ian, who is in the, what would you call it, skate punk band? Hey
Uh,
Radio.
say skate punk, party punk, pop punk, sort of like
Yeah,
a big amalgam of those. So
yeah. So he's here with us. I've known Ian a handful of years, 5, 6 years, something like that. And your band is getting it's playing out a lot more than it was
yeah,
when we first met, and seemed to be getting more respect in the scene than maybe you had in the past, which is good to see. Wichita can be kind of a weird scene and very cliquish, and when you're part of it, you don't always notice how cliquish it can be. And then, I talk to people like you, and you're like, well, we can't get shows. And, I mean, I know you've had a lot of fun playing out, but here in the last 2 or 3 years, probably, I've noticed you playing a lot more and getting out and stuff like that. So, um, why don't you tell us a little about yourself, how you discovered punk, and uh, the scene you grew up with, and then the scene that you moved to when you came to Wichita, because you're originally from Kansas City, right?
hmm And actually, before that, I do want to mention because you were talking about Michelle Trachtenberg. Y'all did happen to forget that she was actually on Pete and Pete.
Oh, that's
Was
true.
she in
Yeah,
Pete and Pete?
Iggy Pop was
Yes,
her dad.
yes,
Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
right.
I totally forgot about that. That
Oh,
show
and
was so fucking rad.
I have to mention
yeah,
too. Sorry, my wife will get mad if I don't mention. She was on Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that, but
No.
But
There.
I hear it's a show that people do watch.
Yeah. There's apparently a really good podcast out there called Gossip Kings, where they
Oh
just sit
yeah.
around and talk about Gossip Girl. That's supposed to be really funny. So
Is it is
yeah,
it
I've not
it's not
listened to it, so I
shitty,
can't
is it?
vouch for it. But I hear it's hilarious. It's a
Yeah.
bunch of guys you wouldn't expect to watch Gossip Girl.
They're not
Check it
they're
out
not
if you want
shitty
to.
though, are they?
What's that?
They're not shitty though, are they?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't
Never
know.
met them.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean like on the show, they're not like misogynist or fucking
No,
whatever.
I mean, my wife listens to it, so
Hmm.
I doubt it highly.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
I've actually been in some sort of music scene for, see, this is my 36th year in just being in any kind of music scene in general, and I am 46 years old, so I've been doing the live music thing since I was 10. Um, just playing in various bands and all, and punk has always been something I've loved, and one of the big things, one of the biggest reasons for that is because my older brother. He had a lot of friends who'd listen to it, and then of course when we were living in Manhattan before we moved to the Kansas City area,
Okay.
had friends who like one who was a year ahead of, or yeah, ahead of him, who was actually ended up being a DJ at what used to be DB92, now it's Wildcat 91.9, but and they just had all these vinyls and these cassettes, and just I was just getting immersed in so much music there. So definitely getting into punk at an early age, and then of course the grunge scene came, the alternative scene, but I always had this big love for punk. And I've now, after being in this band after band after band, I've finally decided I'm doing the punk thing, and I've been doing this thing with the band Hey Radio for we've been around for about almost 9 years now. And it actually started off as a side project, believe it or not, because me, Adam, our frontman, as well as a guy, Elton, who sadly passed away last year.
Hmm.
We were the founders of this, and it was a side project from a metal band that Adam and Elton had had before called Punish and Enslave. And
Hmm.
what our plan was is that we were going to do the metal thing as well as just doing the punk thing, almost
Hmm.
like a Spinal Tap sort of stuff.
Oh,
And
nice.
the funny thing is that one day I just started jamming one of my old songs from an old punk band I was in called the Shifty Bastards, and
That's a really good name.
it ended up being it ended up being a song that we released on our it was a cover, of course, and we recorded and released it on our Bangers album, came out a couple years ago, and and we just realized, hey, this is fun. So we just started kind of doing that, and eventually that grew more and more into um all of a sudden the metal thing became the side project until it became non-existent because it's a lot easier to write punk songs than metal songs, and
I mean, you're not wrong.
and we also figured it'd be easier to get punk shows than metal shows because Wichita, everybody's in a metal band pretty much.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
um then we just started going that route. But the name Hey Radio came because our the plan was like this the music was gonna be really radio friendly, but the lyrics were not. So like, hey, radio player stuff, you know. That was kind of the gag with it because we had a song, one of the like on our first album, a song called More Than You, which is basically that your mother loves us more than you, and it ends up becoming a really perverted reasons from that. And then we also have another song which was a cover song called PE, which is short for premature ejaculation, which is a really it's a crowd pleaser. We're looking at eventually putting it back in the set, but we're working on a lot of newer things now. But one of the biggest reasons of doing this as well is just to show like, hey, no matter what they say, punk never dies, just evolves. And
For sure.
we there's so many different aspects of it. There's so many different just styles. And it's always good to show people what's out there and yeah, I'm gonna sound like the old man to show the younger generation like, hey, you can still do this and you can take it and you can grow off of that. And it was always fun because I actually used to be a public school teacher, so would have kids who would come up to me and say, hey, have you ever heard of such and such band? And I'm just like, oh, that's adorable. You thought, yeah, I love this. And like, yeah, I just heard them. And so having conversations with kids about like classic punk bands that they're discovering, just either hearing on a game or they just heard it at random and just popped up somewhere. So it's just great that way. But yeah, I used to actually sneak into shows when I was younger, as we all did.
Mhm.
Especially when I moved to the Kansas City area and was going to junior high and high school there. My brother was at college at KU, so he knew places and told people, and I was able to get into like the Granada and the Bottleneck and see some great bands there, and the old outhouse before they turned into a strip club, and just so many great shows out there, especially the outhouse. I have so many fun memories of that place, and yeah, it's just punk is my thing. I love it. It's um aggression, yet it is brotherhood and togetherness that you have, and it's family when done right, of course.
For sure. Yeah. Agreed.
Now, granted, there are the assholes who have come in and completely bastardized and infiltrated and just messing with what we've got, but they can never take away the true nature of it, no matter how hard they try, because we'll always fight back.
For real. Agreed. Funny you say that. We had our first internet troll try to fuck with us on Facebook.
Oh, fun.
Neckbone boosted our episode about a band called Death, and some shithead like made fun of me for having a beard and said basically calling me a hipster. And so I talked some shit back to him, and he has he's got his background uh picture is the Ramones doing some fucking conservative bullshit. Like they're in front of some graffiti about communist and women's rights, and they're thumbing it down. So we had a first conservative punk troll. So that was fun.
It's
Shout out
definitely
to that dipshit.
for anyone who didn't see. Yeah, Jared Bear, you got to use your air quotes for
Uh,
punk.
What
Yeah.
who doesn't like a band called? How can anyone not like a band called Death though?
I don't know.
He's probably he never heard of them.
I mean,
I'm sure
of
Yeah,
course, yeah.
he likes the Ramones and Screeching Weasel, and
right.
I
Uh,
mean, end of list. Yeah.
He did have really spiky hair though, so
Hmm.
he's got that going for him.
So he knows what punk is, and he'll let us all know
Yeah.
what it is and who gets to be punk and who doesn't.
mhm.
And then of course he used a nice homophobic slur that Jer Bear. I'm guessing you took that
Oh,
part
I
of the
didn't see
poster.
that. He called us prancing
Oh, prancing, right? Mm.
punk house companion. So he also threw out some homophobia too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, which
Yeah,
is just so punk.
he sure did get me. I really hurt my
What an
feelings.
edge lord.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed by this edge lord.
Yeah.
mm,
What
yeah,
was
he's
your I
probably the
never got
kind of
to
guy who'd see the this polo I've got with the Trojan Records logo on here, and you not even
yeah,
know what it's about here too. So,
I was actually gonna bring that up in a little bit. But before that, I never got to experience the outhouse, but what was your favorite show that you saw there?
oh, jeez, oh man. The favorite show I'd have to say, um, now that I'm put on the spot here, I just can't remember the bands. There were three
Sorry.
locals, and it was just absolute chaos. I mean, it was to the point where everything just like the one of the speakers just went out, so everybody started going crazy, and then all of a sudden one of the members went over, kicked the speaker, and lo and behold it turned on. But he kicked it and threw his beer bottle at it and turned back on, and
Nice.
it was but the whole thing was just a fun night there. And
Hmm.
I remember seeing I want to say I saw Rollins band out there.
Oh yeah, probably.
But I saw because I remember seeing them then as well as the Bottleneck. Because one of the fun things was seeing Rollins band with Tool opening for him.
Hmm.
Like this was the opiate days of that one.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, seeing Rollins. Yeah, I did see Rollins at Outhouse, and a lot of that I also don't remember because I did a lot of crazy shit back then.
We all did. Have you watched the Outhouse documentary?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
What
I
do you
actually got to
think
see
of
it
it?
over at the Orpheum, and that was
Yeah, I
just
watched it at the Orpheum too.
yeah.
It doesn't hold up on multiple rewatches, I don't think.
No, because like a lot of stuff from the past, you look at it, you look at the stuff that's like it was so great then you look at it now, it's like it was also kind of problematic with a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff that happened in there. But yeah, the best nights were the ones where it was just a chaotic night of two or three locals and
Hmm.
show up and everybody's just having a good time, and then everybody leaves right before the cops show up.
I think that's one of the things that Jer Bear and I critiqued the documentary on was that they didn't really focus on any of the local or even
Yeah.
regional bands that would come and play regularly.
Hmm.
They really just
Yeah, there was
focused on
nothing
just
about.
the big names, which I understand why they wanted to have the big names in there because that's what draws the
Right.
crowd. But at the same
But I
time, like
remember,
it was a local venue.
yeah, one of the best. Oh, there was one local that I was a great one I saw there who I actually got to see play here in Wichita last year. That was Season to Risk.
Oh, wow.
So I got to see them. I mean, that was like way early in their early days
Mhm.
too, seeing them up there. But then getting to see the guys when they played at Barleycorns last year
Mhm.
and just kind of catching up with them and everything. And they still sound amazing. Even like 20, almost 30 years later, there's it's great. But yeah,
Nice.
I remember seeing them there. Oh, jeez, just trying to remember all my favorites. The band Outhouse, even though their style was more of your radio style and everything, but them and Ultimate Fake Book, remember seeing them up
Mhm.
there. But yeah, the band Outhouse themselves, that was actually my favorite of the locals up there.
Oh,
I
nice.
I snuck into so many shows at the Bone. I could not to see them, and the Bubble Boys. If I don't know if you guys remember
Oh,
those
uh-huh.
guys.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they I still love that band to this day. In fact, a lot of the stuff that I do with Hey Radio that I've written, I've been in the style of the Bubble Boys.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah,
Sweet. And did you grow up in Kansas City or did you just live there for a
um,
while?
moved there when I went to start going to seventh grade, so junior high
Okay.
through high school. And so yeah, the a big part of my life I grew up in the Kansas City area, and I was playing in some bands in there during junior high and high school. Played especially at G Coffee
Uh-huh.
because G
Yeah.
Coffee played the
Heck
and
yeah.
I drove by that area pretty recently. And it's like there are all these buildings and everything. It's just
Yeah.
not there. I cried because I missed that spot from back then.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah, I remember doing that and then playing the old Hurricane in Kansas City and Beaumont
that
Club.
burned down recently, right?
Yeah. Um,
It burned
actually,
down the hurricane.
Yeah.
no,
Uh-huh.
that was Davies Uptown. That was a few years ago. Davies Uptown burned down. The
Hmm.
Hurricane, though, they I don't know if they tore the building down or if
Oh,
they.
that's what it was. Yeah.
I know the Beaumont Club has just that building is just still empty. I don't think it's in use down there, but
Where's the
that was
Beaumont?
down in Westport, just like right around the corner from Kelly's Irish Pub.
Yeah, I remember the Beaumont, but I don't remember the Beaumont.
Yeah, I saw a lot
Um,
of shows there too. But yeah, getting to see just so just remembered another show I did happen to see it at the Outhouse. Bad Brains.
oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Was
nice.
that
Yeah.
is that the infamous one where he beat the shit out of somebody with his mic stand? Or was that at the
No,
bottleneck?
that was the Granada. That was the Granada who
Oh, the
did that.
Granada. Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus, fuck HR.
Isn't he touring with the Dead Kennedys now? That's. Let me Google it.
Yeah, you better fact check that.
Uh, on one hand, yay. On the
I
other
mean,
hand,
yeah.
uh,
It's true.
Damn, that is fucking wild.
Yeah, Dead Kennedys announced 2025 East Coast tour with Bad Brains vocalist Paul H.R. Hudson. Did he ever apologize for all the homophobic stuff that he said?
No, he doesn't apologize for anything, man. He's
No
HR.
shit. Damn.
no, he won't because he's HR and he probably doesn't remember half the shit he says.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
yeah, for real. I mean, yeah, yeah. Him in the outhouse talk was delightful. What was the first punk rock you got into? You said your older brother got you into punk
Yeah,
rock. That's kind of how you discovered it, but
I
but
hate to I hate to say this because it was accessible there, and because I remember seeing a video on MTV long, long, long ago, and it was actually Sex Pistols.
oh yeah. That I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
you know.
basically in a way, Sex Pistols is a gateway because everybody hears Anarchy in the UK, just like
Yeah.
everybody
Mhm.
hears "Want to Be Sedated" by Ramones. Those are like
Uh-huh.
kind of gateways, then you just explore more from there.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
then that was when my brother was like passing other things like Dead Candies. He'd listen to them a lot.
Hmm.
So I would really get on that and then he would say, "Hey Ian, sit down here, learn this on guitar." So I was the next thing I knew I was playing Holiday in Cambodia, and then I was playing all these others and just learning all these other songs, and then getting to stuff like the one of the neatest things was when he sat me down and put a vinyl on, and it was the song "Politicians in Our Eyes"
Oh, nice.
by Death, and
Uh-huh.
my band was called Death, and I just learned that part because it just had that that bass line that do 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 do, and just how it
Hmm.
had this real just um, it was like a funk and jazz and punk groove, and with all the music that my parents had, like especially the R&B and the funk and stuff like that, and just hearing how everything was bridged together. And so that's where I was really getting to that, and then I started getting into more things like heard some of the early Blondie stuff, of course, and then getting into what were some of those others like then finding out stuff like Velvet Underground and just learning all sorts of just the big just broad genres. So
Nice.
and that's the neat thing because a lot of that stuff was being played on DB92. So,
Hmm.
because College Station and College Rock Times, and they played all the stuff you wouldn't find anywhere else. So that's where I was just learning so much and hearing
Hmm.
and just playing so much stuff.
Nice.
And for me, it was tricky because um I was definitely not the kind of person that a lot of people would expect to be listening or playing punk because
Hmm.
black guy, you know?
Hmm.
So it was so neat when I saw like a band called Death and saw Bad Brains and then would hear about all these others and seeing, hey, black guys are doing this too. And
Hmm.
then you'd see Prince and you'd hear the stuff that he was playing and then realizing he's throwing in some punk riffs in his stuff, like some of the stuff that was on Purple Rain and on the 1999 album. They're actual punk riffs in there,
Yeah.
and
Prince is great.
yeah, and
Um,
it was just amazing to know that hey, I can look up there and I can see someone who looked like me playing the stuff that I like, and that's another one of the big things about punk because when especially when you have the young black kids who are listening to rock, listen to punk, and they're seeing people who look like them, it's just an amazing thing because
yeah,
I see it that often. So
right. So, that brings up a question I had. How did like family and friends react to you being a punk rocker? Was there any like you shouldn't be doing this? This is white boy stuff, or I mean, I guess your
I would
brother
get
was
that
into
from
it,
a
so it
lot
was
of
probably.
yeah, I would get that from a lot of people. My brother did too. There were people
Mhm.
who, especially my older brother, would try to bully about that stuff. But he is also a guy who's like 6'8" and
Oh, damn.
and he's a gentle giant. But
Uh-huh.
if you push, you would he could definitely defend. Me,
Hmm.
on the other hand, much smaller, younger, sensitive kind, and
Hmm.
they took advantage of that. They would make fun of me about all that stuff, but
Hmm.
then at the same time, they would see I'd start playing guitar, I'd start doing like some hair band stuff or playing all these other things, and all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, he's cool and everything, but I'm still gonna make fun of him, but he can still play this stuff." So yeah, kids.
And then on the other side of that, did you was the punk rock scene welcoming to you? Did you feel like it was inclusive, or did you feel like maybe you didn't fully belong, or was everybody cool and open? Like our
Was your
scene
first scene
Yes
here.
the
and
Kansas City
no.
scene then?
Yeah, yes and no, because there were those who definitely would even back then would gatekeep. But
Mhm.
at the same time, you had those who would say, "Hey, here's a kid. Look at him. He's having a good time." and he's into the music, and
Hmm.
no one else is liking the music, but no one else outside of our community seems to like this. But here's this new kid out here, he's liking it, so that's a sign. That's something good.
Hmm.
But a lot of folks did as well because I was out there just having a good time, and I was just taking part with things, and
Hmm.
I was out there talking with people, and I had friends who were part of the Sharp community, so that
Hmm.
was one of the big things as well.
Right.
Because
That's good. That was going to be my next question regarding your shirt is how you got how you found skinhead culture and how the Sharp community um affected you and your place in the scene and stuff like that. Because I imagine it was,
yeah, it they as
before
far
I
as the
heard what
ones
sharps
who
were, I just thought they were scary skinheads and were going to beat the
right,
shit out of me. And then they're like, no, it's sharp. And I was like, oh shit, that's so fucking
right.
cool. And then they,
Oh, there's no granted a lot of them are still scary skinheads, but but the thing is that they were the ones who actually were the most welcoming
Mhm.
to me and my brother and when we go to some shows because
Mhm.
they're they were the ones who were truly about community and belonging
Mhm.
and like, hey, you're part of our group, so you're one of us, so we're gonna look out for you. And that was one of the things I loved about the punk scene back then is if they saw the young ones just like in the goth scene, the baby bats, we look out for the baby bats. They look out for the
Mhm.
young
Yeah.
punks, and that was something that's something I miss nowadays
Mhm.
because there's a lot of that, just like the twat who was trying to troll on you guys. And there are a
Yeah.
lot of folks who are like that out there, but we've got like the Sharp community is one of the most open and welcoming communities out there,
For
and
sure.
the True Skins, and
Yeah.
they 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 are they are brothers. They're
Hmm.
like brothers to me
For
because
sure.
they care about the scene, they care about people, they care about the rights. They definitely hate the boneheads, and they will defend to no end to get them out of
Yeah.
our scene because um the boneheads have truly bastardized everything that
Yeah.
sharps and true skin stand for, and that's one of the things. That's why, yeah, I have this emblem on my shirt, and I do consider myself part of the community because I feel like it is that belonging community, and I also love just educating people about it and
Hmm.
letting them know that, hey, there are folks who have your back, and the boneheads, yeah, we gotta get them out of the scene. We gotta get them out of everything here because they
Hmm.
are not they're they're they do not belong, and they do not follow what we truly follow, which is the love of the scene, the love of our community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And
Uh,
to me, that's what punk really is about. It's about the love of your scene and the love of your community. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
definitely. Supporting each
And,
other, helping each other
yeah.
out. Fuck
and I'm
yeah.
glad there are people out there who, in the sharp community who are, because when I was growing up, I thought all skinheads were Nazis. That's what I thought. Like when I was like,
That's what was portrayed out there.
mhm, yeah. So
But
yeah, the first time I saw sharps too, I was just like, oh fuck, Nazis. Like run.
Being a Kansas City punk, I assume you know Rico.
yeah,
I don't know him very well, but he always seemed like everybody's big brother.
oh yeah,
I've talked to him a handful of times when we lived up there, and that was 20 almost well shit, it was 25 years ago.
26
We
years
ran
ago.
into him and friends with mutual friends, and yeah, he always seemed like the nicest guy, but would totally throw down if it came to it.
oh yeah, oh
Like
yeah.
I said, just everybody's big brother. So shout
But
out to
yeah,
Rico up in Kansas
if
City.
if need be, you knew that he had your back, and he would throw down like that.
He's a big motherfucker too.
Oh yeah,
I think he's taller than me, and I'm 6'5". So he's
yeah.
Jesus.
He's another one of those gentle giants, but
yeah.
he can just go. He's ready to go in an instant. But he is, yeah.
So what brought you down to Wichita?
Um, college.
Okay.
Came down for college. I had a full ride music scholarship to WSU.
Nice. For what
So
instrument? Were you
it was for cello and voice actually. So I was doing
nice?
music ed, but I also had academic scholarships. So basically,
Mhm.
ended up having about a full ride for that. So came down, was doing that, and then around 2000, I took some time off because I had an industrial band IDP that I was in, and we decided to go on the road. And so I left college for a while, came back. Everything had changed. I had to redo a lot of stuff, and then eventually graduated. So it
Nice.
took me about 7.5 years to finally finish college because took that
Mhm.
time to do the touring musician thing,
Yeah.
and just came back. And but yeah, I've been here since '97. Haven't been able to leave.
Okay. Yeah, we left in 99
Yeah.
and went up to Kansas City
So
and
we had a small amount of overlap then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. And
Um
then, yeah, I left Wichita in 99 and I never went back. I just moved progressively farther away and then
uh-huh.
eventually closer. I live in Chicago now, so I'm
Mhm.
at least back in the Midwest. So this is the closest I've lived to Wichita in a very long time. You said you worked at 1059 The Laser for a while, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, what was that must have been before you came down to Wichita then.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I was actually in high school
Oh, really?
and was, yeah, kind of doing some internship stuff and some couple live remotes, and just one of those guys who would be like a youth street team that eventually had the late night Mr. Brown Nose show. And that was just a chaotic sort of thing. But and then eventually some new owners came in and decided the kids don't want to hear all the newest alternative stuff. No, they want to hear Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears and all this pop. And they sold the station and completely changed it. And yeah.
I remember that.
So we
Yeah.
I was listening. I
yeah.
was delivering pizzas for a living in Kansas City when they did the switch, and I remember turning on the laser, and yeah, like the Backstreet Boys were on or something, and I thought, oh, this is a joke. They're playing this because it's like they're trying to be funny, and then the next song came on, and it was something similar, 98 Degrees or whoever the fuck was around back then, and I was just like, oh, I don't think this is a joke.
I
Yeah.
remember
I
you
think they,
telling me about that
yeah, they just changed formats
because
overnight.
you came home from work pissed off.
Yeah, I was really pissed off because that's what I listened to because I think my tape deck was broken at that point. So I was like, all I had was the fucking radio.
It might have been because I spilled Arizona tea in your CD player.
That could be.
I think
Did I
that's
have
what
a CD
happened.
player? It's
Well, you
right. It was
had
a CD player.
yeah, you put the tape deck, you put the
Mhm.
tape into the tape deck so your CD player would play
Oh
through the speakers.
right,
It was back then when you
that's
had
right.
to do
Because I was
that.
like, I don't think my car was fancy enough to have a
No,
CD
no, no, no,
player
no. It
actually in
was
the
portable
console.
with a no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was my Hyundai,
Uh
wasn't it? Was that my Hyundai?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like late '80s
Uh
Hyundai. Total piece of shit. Love that car.
my brother was a DJ for a long time here in town. Lots of different radio stations, but like probably the coolest thing that I think he did was he played the last country song and the first rock and roll song on T95 when it
Oh
made the
wow.
switch from country to rock and roll, which is pretty cool, I think. Yeah, and you've done other stuff with your radio voice. You announced for sporting games
Yeah, I
for
did
some
high school
schools
sports,
and
did minor league hockey, college baseball, things like that. And
nice.
I've done a couple of voiceovers on radio around the area as well, and done commercials, things like that. So, yeah, it's always a lot of fun to do things like that too.
Mhm.
And I had about a year or so ago, I had my own radio podcast show that was part of Moshville Radio out of the UK. And I did that as a promise to a friend of mine who'd passed away. And
Oh
I
shit.
told her like I was gonna be on the show, or I was gonna have my own show on the station and everything. And I
Mhm.
gave it a year, so I did a year, and it was Ian's hard drive. So
Oh
all
no.
sorts
Oh
of
yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, all these different because I had a huge collection of music, and a lot of it was stuff from my days in the laser,
Mhm.
where before they were gonna throw all those CDs and cassettes away. Like, I just grabbed as many as I could, and
Yeah.
so I had a lot of stuff I was playing in that, and one of them was one of the shows was a punk show, and I did one of my favorite ones was a 3 hour show called Songs for Skins,
Yeah.
and it was like it started with the stuff from like the early Trojan records, ska and reggae to modern skinhead punk, and
Mhm.
just playing some really great, great bands from all over the world. And then the biggest reason for that was because of the fact that I also, like I said, was a former public school teacher, so I would use that as a time to educate and let people know, like, hey, this is what real skinheads are, and this is what,
Hmm.
and these are guys like this guy right here, Desmond Decker. He was considered a skinhead, and with the music and the styles, and he's a guy from Jamaica. Then of course I'd play stuff like Simmerip and Skinhead Moonstomp, which is one of my absolute favorite songs in the world.
Fuck
And
yeah.
it's just a amazing, just chill skinhead ska tune. And what a lot of people also didn't realize about that was how it was black culture really helped
Yeah.
shape the skinhead movement.
Yeah.
So,
Caribbean
right.
specifically, wasn't it?
So when it comes to um, this month being February and Black History Month, and fuck you, those who don't want to celebrate it. Yeah, skinhead culture is part of Black History Month. So
Fuck yeah,
there
it
you
is.
Yeah.
And we've talked a little bit about it on the podcast about how skinhead culture is directly tied to Jamaica and the Caribbean
go.
and reggae and ska.
Because
And a lot of people think ska is like third wave bullshit, but it actually started
Right.
in Jamaica. It was a much slower, much closer to
Mhm.
what people think of as reggae. And Jamaicans
And
immigrating
actually,
to England to
Yeah.
work
yeah,
Yeah.
and hang
Working
out with
class.
poor working class white folks in the UK,
Hmm.
and cultural
intermixing
mixing
and
there,
using
and
together.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and that's really where it came from. But do you want to go into any deeper than that? Because like neither of us are skinheads
Yeah,
and don't know a
because
ton
that
about it,
goes
but
with that goes with the rude boy culture.
Mhm.
And especially like if you think of the song of the the old special song, which was, believe it or not, a cover, Message to You, Rudy,
Mhm.
which is a song about, hey, rude boys, stop fucking around. That's
Mhm.
basically what
Yeah,
it is. It's grow up, stop showing the bad side of our culture. And this is a message to you, Rudies. Like, do not be like this. And it's like the older generation tell the younger generations that's what it is. Stop the messing
Hmm.
around. But it's with the culture itself and with the music, you had you had a lot of it was believe it or not, a lot of the early stuff was kind of religious based too.
Mhm.
So
Well,
you
yeah. I don't know how many people know that Rasta is a religion,
it
and it's
is.
based on like a mixture of Judaism and Christianity, and yeah, so like
And even a little
reggae.
bit of the Haitian voodoo with that
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
But the big reason why people always love Rasta is because um reggae, dreadlocks, and weed.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And that's the thing
With
about
and
it.
they don't know
Yeah.
shit else.
You know,
Uh,
just
Wait,
like
I thought wasn't it all started by Snoop Lion? Didn't he start?
one of the most fucked up things that I heard was the specials used in a AARP commercial.
Ooh.
yeah,
It
Yeah.
hurt a little bit. I mean, I'm a little bit young.
yeah.
That was about a generation and a half ahead of me. But
Hmm.
damn.
Well, we've
Yeah.
talked about this before. As soon as a song is used in a commercial, like
Mhm.
that's why I was like, we talked about it in our non-punk music. that we like episode where it's like where I can't listen to Run the Jewels anymore because they use one of their songs in a fucking tax commercial now, and I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm done with them.
I'm gonna see if I can pull up my old playlist and see if I can find that to see if some of those songs that are on there. So give me a second here. Like Desmond Decker, Phyllis Dillon, because that was the thing with the skinhead culture, especially the stuff that was played on Trojan Records. You had a lot of female-fronted artists as well, and female-fronted groups, just like the Corporation with the song "Skinhead to Bash Them,"
Hmm.
which is a super super cool song, and then getting into some of the if you would listen to some of the stuff, you'd almost think it was like not Motown soul, but it was
Northern
kind of
Soul.
to style.
Hmm.
And then some were you would hear some of these songs like, oh, I've heard this one before. Like when Blondie put out The Tide is High. That's an old
Hmm.
Skinhead tune from
Oh,
God, who did that? The Paragons. Yeah, that's on that
huh.
one.
Do you know, because I'm not familiar with it, but do you know how skinhead, rude boy, and mod culture all kind of came together? Was it just around scooters or what? How did that work? Because they all kind of kick it together and have similar styles, and they all love scooters. And it's just curious to me because
Is
I don't know, it's strange.
is this well, the mods were kind of the outsiders because they mods had money and a lot of the skins did not because of working on the docks and all, but
Hmm.
they all seem to have a love for the culture and the music, especially and
Hmm.
getting out and
Well, they
dancing.
all like to dance.
Yeah, and the mods especially would introduce a lot of the skinheads to like your a lot of your blue-eyed soul type
Hmm.
groups.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then they would just start getting along there, and then of course they'd start riding on the scooters. But
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was, the mods were kind of the a lot of the skins have kind of had their nose in the air because
Hmm.
the a lot of the mods of society would be the ones who they think would be the oppressors when actually
Hmm.
they're also being oppressed, but they're just
Hmm.
dressed nicer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that I mean in the 60s when mod culture really started, it was the whole premise was trying to look nice even though you were poor and working class.
Right,
And
right.
so I mean
And they
being poor
think
and
that
working
when they would
class
do
kind of.
that, right.
Mhm.
Because like, what, you're turning your back on us, sort of
Right.
thing. But
Yeah.
there was still the music, there was still the culture with that, and yeah, stuff. And just remembering some of those bands like Madness is actually was a big time a lot of their stuff big time in the skinhead culture. The
Yeah, for
music.
sure.
And one of the things that I actually ended up blowing some friends' minds recently was because I posted and I do this all the time. Whenever those fucking Nazis keep making their presence known, I
Mhm.
I play the song "The Day the Nazi Died" by Chumbawamba.
Fuck yeah.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that everybody knows Chumbawamba for two songs, Tub
Mhm.
Thumping and Amnesia,
Mhm.
because those was out there.
Yeah.
However, if you really look at the lyrics of Tub Thumping, it is in a way it's kind of a working class album or a
Yeah, for
working class
sure.
song. It's
Hmm.
about going and having a few pints after fighting
Being
and
exploited.
uh, against
Hmm.
aggressors. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah,
Can I have a
Chumbawamba,
whiskey drink? Can I have a vodka drink?
they were just like a massive skinhead anarcho punk band that and it blows people away when I said, yeah, listen to these songs here, just give them a list and
Hmm.
this like the same band, like, oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. At my new job, I told them that my favorite punk rock band would probably have to be Chumbawamba. And they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I was like, "No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Like, check it out." And they're like,
Mhm.
Hmm.
"Okay." Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
I think about that and I think about a lot of the some of the more modern like your 70s to today skinhead punk bands, you had while you didn't have as many that were supremely multicultural because a
Yeah.
lot of us were just into the music, you did have some bands like Redskins. A they were a Native American skinhead band, and they were great. They had the song. I recommend that one. The song "It Can Be Done" by
Hmm.
Redskins.
I'll check it out. I've
That
never
is
heard of
a
them
great
before,
one.
so
But
that's
then, of
cool.
course, if you think about some of the stuff in there from um, a band called Death, some of their styles would be considered along that because a band called Death, that's with a very political band.
Hmm.
Who if not for them, we wouldn't have a lot of the political bands we have nowadays. We wouldn't have had, honestly, if not for a band called Death, we wouldn't have had Tom Morello would have never done what he did to get Rage Against the Machine going
Hmm.
because they were doing that just much um more subdued. And then I remember one of my favorite things was I was in it was it was one of the few good memories I have about my ex-wife, but we were at Amoeba Music in San
Oh yeah.
Francisco,
Hmm.
and I saw the CD that was just a whole. It was a big old compilation, and it was a skinhead punk compilation of The Oppressed and Roddy Moreno and all his different iterations of his band. And they if you have not heard The Oppressed, I highly recommend it. They are just phenomenal. They are true anti-racist, anti-Nazi, true skinhead hooligans.
Nice.
And then there's another band nowadays, a pretty recent one, Booze and Glory out of the
I've
UK,
heard
and
of them.
fun skinhead band. I
Yeah.
know those guys severely. I've seen them play like four times. They're one of my friends, his band Kids on Fire out of Seattle actually did a show with them last
Oh,
year.
nice. That's rad.
So that was awesome to hear about that.
What's up next for Hey Radio? What do you guys got coming up?
Working on some new music actually. We're getting ready to do some recording. I'm actually going to be setting up we're gonna be doing the recording at my house. I've got
Oh, nice.
a new home studio I've built, so just a simple DIY, just direct in, gonna record all the stuff. I'm gonna do the prelim mixes, then we're gonna get stuff sent off from True Mixing and Mastering. And we've got our sound is definitely evolving
Hmm.
and it's for the better.
Hmm.
And we are gonna be have a couple shows coming up. We actually have one coming up in about a month over at a place here in town, Wave. So we're
Oh, yeah,
gonna be
yeah. Hmm.
stage for that opening for a band called Van Full of Nuns. And what they are is they're a touring cover band who does a whole bunch of like your um emo and pop punk like 90s and 2000s,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's always they're what they call pop punk night, and it's always a blast. And I've been I was trying for about 2.5, almost 3 years to set this show up with them and finally got it. So, um, looking forward to that. And hopefully
Awesome.
get a couple of little festivals around the area while
Hmm.
we get ready to put in a new album out and a new EP and just keep on working on stuff. And
Awesome.
yeah, we did have an album we were going to be putting out this year, but we kind of abandoned that because everything just went to shit with it. And the
Oh,
reason I say that is because the album we actually announced it last year, and the album was supposed to be Chat G Punk T. And what it
okay.
was all the lyrics were created by Chat GPT, and we were gonna write the music. But then with and that was like before everybody started coming out with more and more AI stuff, and
Hmm.
where all of a sudden you have these albums which are written AI, and then that was like, wow, that's just completely destroys what our whole plan was on here because now it has this really bad rap, and it was gonna be a really funny thing because the lyrics were super cheesy. And that's what the funny. It was gonna be like a kind of a comedy album, But
Nice.
so we've kind of abandoned that, but we're keeping the music, and we've come up with some new songs that we're doing, which is, and like I said, stuff's really been evolving with us lately. So
Hmm.
people when they've come to shows, we've been getting a great response. They're really digging what we're doing, and we hope that this next one, because it's going to be a much bigger crowd than we're used to playing, and we're hoping
Hmm.
that a lot of folks are gonna definitely gonna like it. Because one thing we've noticed, because we did a show last year with another touring band called Not Green Day, and all
Hmm.
they do
Yeah.
is that they're not Green Day, but they play all Green Day songs. It's a
Uh-huh.
if they're not like your tribute band, they just pay tribute to the band by they love the band. They're not like we're not dressed all like him, and we're not like your everything is just a carbon copy. But no, there's four guys that love Green Day and they play the songs, and it was a packed show. And when we opened on that one, and the one thing people kept asking is like, really, you guys are really local? It's neat to see that, but at the same time, it's like, well, we've been out here, we're still trying to get out. This just trying to crack into that. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're working on getting some new stuff out, and I think people are really gonna like it.
Awesome, man. I'm
Nice.
stoked you guys are playing a lot more shows and people are recognizing you. And I think yeah, it's really great. Neckbone, I don't think you know about this.
Hmm.
But Ian, I wonder if you would like to give your take on the Somewhere Fest, who Neckbone, this is funded by Nepo Baby,
Mm,
Chase Coke.
mm,
Oh, is that
Who
the guy that
he's a
had,
little
yeah,
speaking of Run the Jewels, Killer Mike in
yeah,
Wichita?
yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Cool.
He's a billionaire hipster who is
yeah.
trying to um buy the Wichita music scene. He's purchased a lot of property
The Shirkmere
downtown.
included.
Uh-huh, yeah.
I
And
used to live in the Shirkmere, and so I
yeah.
take this very personally.
I heard a rumor, I don't think it's true. But I heard a rumor he was also trying to buy the strip mall where Kirby's is located. Which to me is a direct threat of violence to our scene.
Yes.
So I hope it's not true. I hope that is just an ugly rumor. But yeah, I wonder kind of what your take on that would be because you're much more active in the Wichita music scene than I am right now. But I think it's fucking despicable.
Mm,
And I mean, I'm glad on the one hand, I'm glad that there's a festival for people to go to and enjoy. I
right.
am very, very concerned that he is going to use his position of power to exploit artists, to exploit the city, and exploit our music
Mm,
scene. And I don't see very much good coming from it because
Yeah.
some of the people he is working with are some of the same shitheads who tried to do some
yeah.
pay to play bullshit back in 2008 for shows where if you wanted to play a show at a club, you had to pay them money to get on the bill, which fuck pay to play.
That's
It's
stupid.
fucking bullshit and it kills the scene.
Mhm.
And yeah, it just fucking sucks. But
Yeah, I
you
remember one
know,
club in particular back then, the Cave, that was downtown. That area now is like they still have some of those warehouses, but it's mostly parking because it is basically south of the main entrance to Interest Bank Arena.
oh,
But it was one of those warehouses. There's a place there,
mhm,
and it was a cool place to see a show. I mean, I saw Lacuna Coil came through there
oh,
and played that place, but and let's see. But anyway, yeah, that was one of those places like that. But so, I mean, it's cool there. There are some dance and pop artists that a lot of folks are probably gonna dig, and
mhm.
not really my cup of tea. However, I did see Kim Gordon's gonna be on there,
Yeah,
but
Kim Gordon's gonna
I
be
don't
there.
want
Dead
to drive
Mouse
all
is
the
another
way
big
just to see
name.
her play, because
Yeah.
honestly the only one I want to see who's on this bill.
I wonder how she would feel if she knew kind of the situation or if she's even passionate enough about that anymore. I mean, I'm not saying that she sucks or anything like that. I just like you have different concerns when you're not as involved and not, I mean, she was in fucking Sonic Youth, man. She's not
Right.
fucking concerned about our local music scene.
Well, she probably doesn't
Um,
even know what's going on. She was
right.
probably just like, oh, this festival in Kansas wants to book me. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and from what I've heard, they kind of try and keep it under wraps
yeah, of
because
course.
the Coke's
Well,
name is
So they
kind of
say,
poison.
surprise, here's what we got
right.
going.
Right.
Once something is corporate sponsored, that's the death of it, and having any kind of credibility.
And don't get me wrong, I fucking love Sonic Youth.
Mhm.
I saw them at the Granada, and that was that was just amazing seeing that too. But it's as much as I want to see her perform, I feel it's not the right. I feel that the crowd's not going to get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That's my big thing out there. I feel because you have a lot of these artists that yeah, Dead Mouse is on there. A lot of folks know Dead Mouse.
Mhm.
He's gonna be the big one, but
Mhm.
it's just not gonna be I don't really think I don't think it's gonna be marketed properly.
I don't
And
either.
I also feel like, hey, I know it did big last year. I know they made a lot of money off that thing too. I
Mhm.
mean, a lot of people went to it, but to me, and just knowing the community, I just feel it's just I don't feel like it is fully our community.
No, I don't think it's for Wichitans.
And a lot of folks who came to the festival came from outside of Wichita too.
Mhm.
For
Yeah.
this,
That's what they want. They
right?
want all everybody to flood in to a town,
Mhm.
spend money,
Yeah.
have to pay for a place to stay, have to pay to get around, dump a bunch of money into big box corporate
Hmm.
places that them and their buddies own, and then get the fuck out.
Now, don't
Or
get me wrong. If I had a restaurant downtown, I would definitely totally be playing up on this thing and banking on that. But at the same time, I
Mhm.
would feel that it would also be detrimental to the community because it's gonna keep a lot of the people who are constantly in that area and constantly spending money and constantly part of that area. It's gonna
Yeah,
push them out.
yeah.
It's in a way it's like a big gentrification sort of
Well,
thing.
yeah,
it
that's
pushes
just what I
out
was
all the
getting ready to say.
local, pushes out
Yeah.
like your local mom and pop burger place, and then a Five
Right.
Guys moves in. So
Right.
the
Yeah.
local economy doesn't even get that fucking money anyway, just because some
Right.
big box corporate bullshit place. And we've seen it
Mhm.
time. We've been seeing this my entire life. It's just
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I really think it is like a next step in the gentrification of Wichita. I mean, look how cheap it
mm,
is to live here. Come, all ye rich people, to my music festival and see what Wichita has to offer. You can exploit this. You can exploit this. You can exploit this. Look how cheap it is to live here. Look how cheap the property is.
right. And they're doing the same
And
thing in
then
Kansas City right now.
yeah,
Look at
huh?
Yeah,
all the shit. Power and Light District, that didn't fucking
exactly.
exist when I lived there. That's all just big box corporate bullshit. Then they
Mhm.
wanted to move fucking Royals wanted to move to downtown for some fucking reason, even though
And
there's nothing wrong with Kauffman
that's one of the
Stadium.
biggest reasons why Westport has gone even farther downhill
Yeah.
Mhm.
because of
Hmm.
Power Light and it's just it's it's so to me it's just so empty down in
Yeah.
Westport and also it's become even more dangerous.
Yeah, that's what I've heard is that it's way more dangerous. And
I
I
mean, we
mean,
played a show at Skate Bar, which moved from St. Joe's, I think it was St. Joe, Missouri, but moved up to Kansas City, and it's I mean it was a fun show. Unfortunately, we played just for the bands and a couple of friends of one of the bands that came in because right up the street, like a block away, like right before we were gonna play, there was a shooting. So
mhm.
they had everything blocked off. So we still played, but it was like it
Hmm.
was nuts on that,
Yeah.
and like we were right there, heard everything, saw a lot of stuff going on. I actually was helping out with the police from giving eyewitness accounts and even help put like tourniquet on somebody. So it was nuts, but there's a reason they call it Wild Wild Westport now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it wasn't that bad when we
Oh, it
lived
was.
there. Like the neighborhood we lived in was a little rougher. I mean,
Yeah. Up on
probably heard the
Main
story
Street.
about Nick
Yeah.
getting
Mhm.
stabbed, but
Mhm.
Westport was, to me, perfectly safe. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, not as safe as like Johnson County or whatever, but for a
No,
city,
it
it's a
was
safe area.
it was a lot
but
of
And
then
frat and
all the
sorority
money, and
people.
you had to go
mhm,
there because it was
Mhm.
big and ritzy, and you had all these huge clubs and all this flashy stuff, and it's everybody left, and it's gonna be to the point where eventually, because what's starting to grow more is in back in Johnson County near Wyandotte County, the Legends area
oh
is
yeah.
so
Oh
Mhm,
yeah.
eventually people are gonna start leaving Power and Light and moving there, especially if they end up building the a new Chiefs Stadium out there. That everybody's gonna go out to
Right.
Legends. Yeah, they're looking at building if the if stuff falls down at the Truman Sports Complex, they're looking at moving the Chiefs to the Kansas side.
Yeah.
that's
Stadium out there.
crazy. I didn't hear about that. That's wild.
It
Yeah,
doesn't surprise.
Huh.
I mean, the
they've got
sporting's
like
already out
a
there.
And I've
So
seen like the ideas like the that they have for what the stadium would look like inside and outside. It looks amazing, but
No.
I mean it would be great revenue for the state, but at the same
Mhm,
time, yeah, the Truman Sports Complex it needs updating. It's
mhm,
old. But
mhm.
also if they do that and they put the stadium in Kansas City or in KCK and it's a closed stadium it'd be a dome.
mhm.
Then Kansas City would finally get that Super Bowl they've always wanted.
Was that, I mean, but would that be funded by taxpayers probably?
Oh
Subsidized by
yeah.
taxpayers?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We had the same thing in Chicago. The Chicago Bears are demanding a new stadium because
Demanding?
Soldier Field is not big enough for them. By the way, they're the worst team in the fucking NFL,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
but
they
it's the
demanded
Bears.
that Chicago, Cook County, and Illinois taxpayers float the bill so they could build a fancy new stadium, or they're threatening to leave. And basically, our mayor and governor were like, "All right, bye, go fuck yourself."
Yeah,
They're reassessing the plan, like, "Oh, like yeah, nobody's okay. Go ahead and move. Where the fuck are you
Yeah,
gonna
where are you
move?"
gonna go? Las Vegas?
Yeah, how long do you think it'll take for another team just to move to Chicago and be like, "Wow,
Right.
there's a 10 million person open fucking market. I think we'll move there." Like, and we'll just get another team. Okay. Yeah, we'll take the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who gives a shit?
and just since we're just kind of off subject here, I actually was looking at moving up to Chicago years ago because I had an offer for an announcing position at Chicago State.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're now granted their basketball team is absolutely horrible, but but I was trying to find a teaching job up there and I couldn't.
Yeah, they're NCAA though.
Yeah,
Uh,
I found a great job, but they ended up hiring internally. So
Hmm.
man, yeah,
it's
if I
great
would
up
have
here.
got that, I'd be living in Chicago right now and teaching there. And
You should move up here anyway. Do it.
yeah, I do have friends who are up there and who are in the area. They actually a couple of them used to run a live music slash comedy place, the Shit House.
Well, I'm not familiar with that. What neighborhood's that in?
I forgot where that was, but
Okay,
my
I
friend
could just
Wes and
Google it.
Ryan ran that, and it was basically like an upstairs venue sort of thing, but like it was almost like a don't want to say an attic, but like an upstairs venue type thing.
If you wouldn't mind, what led you to public school teaching?
I come from a family of teachers.
Oh, nice. That's
Mom was a
awesome.
teacher. My mom was a retired teacher. My grandma on my dad's side, she was this public school teacher. And my dad, when he was in the military, he commanded battalions. So teaching's been in my blood. I started teaching guitar lessons at the age of 10, so I've just been a lifelong teacher. And
Nice.
now
That's awesome.
I in a higher education sort of setting, and I absolutely love it. It's never gonna leave my it's never gonna leave me and my personality. I've always been
Mhm.
a teacher of some sort.
That's awesome. We
Nice.
need more teachers
Yeah,
for
for sure.
sure. People that are passionate about it, not just doing it for whatever. And most teachers, I think, are passionate about it.
Right, right.
It's a very few that aren't passionate about it. I've had the misfortune of meeting some, but
I don't
um,
know who would do an incredibly difficult, time-consuming job that doesn't pay very well and not be passionate about it.
Right.
Like,
I
like
think, I mean, I think after some time, people get
oh,
complacent
you just get like burnt out.
and yeah,
Okay.
burnt out. So yeah.
Hmm.
But overall, teachers are great.
You've already kind of covered it a little bit, but yeah, I was interested if there was any like any non-punk music that also inspires you.
Well, of course, stuff like Prince,
Mhm.
because his style, his he crosses so many genres and so many boundaries. He crossed so many genres and boundaries, and he did it all in the same song, and would just show like, hey, I'm here. I'm flamboyant. I I bend music. I bend genders. I do all this stuff here, and you're gonna fucking love me for it. And he was unapologetic, and I absolutely love that about him. Um, Bands like Living Color because
Yeah.
they show like, hey, black guys up here who can rock, who can shred a guitar, who can play funky stuff, who can do all the stuff. Once again, all sorts of genres together. Um,
And
Same
cult of
thing.
personality more relevant
Yeah,
than ever right now.
yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Same thing with Seven Dust. Lejean, a good friend of mine, he is out there just like showing, hey, I'm out here fronting the band. People love us, and I'm just a really cool motherfucker. And then I get into things let's see, there's another one of the big ones I've really absolutely loving is like my classic new wave stuff because a lot of it was just music that would just transcend
Mhm.
and experiment.
Mhm.
That's why I actually tell people like one of the best bands to just go out there and show and the musicians in the band, even though a couple of them had big egos, they could just go out there and just make a lot of great music was Duran Duran.
Mhm.
And then, especially when you saw the stuff they did when they kind of did the reinvention in the early 90s, like
Mhm.
93 with Come Undone and
Mhm.
things like that. But then when Simon Le Bon had his side project, when they kind of split off and you had like Roger Taylor and guys went off and started with Power Station, but Simon Le Bon head off and had just the one album with his side project, Arcadia, the So Red the Rose album. And if people, because everybody, if they know one song from there, it's a song Election Day. But I highly recommend that album. Just like the band, The Church, the Starfish album is another one that's highly recommended. Um, and then getting into just music that's just nice and kind of chill stuff and just that kind of the stuff that really makes you think. So I have just an overabundance of music I listen to because of that. And then of course one of my absolute favorite bands, and I hope they still have a couple of them left for the like the VIP meet and greets, but that's the band Guar.
Fuck yeah.
I if I
Wow. That was
and
an unexpected last one there.
I absolutely I am absolutely obsessed with that band from a live standpoint. You go for the show, and this next time that I go see them, well, the reason I hope it's that they have meet and greet still is because if I get that, I'll be able to not only meet them during this time, but also be able to gush about how the show I was going to see, which is during their 40th anniversary. Yeah, they've been around that long. Will actually
Damn.
be my 40th time to see them live.
Oh, nice. That's fucking awesome.
Wow.
But yeah,
Is that the band you've seen more than any other band, would you
yeah.
say?
Or
Okay. Damn.
is that band.
Nice.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you look at my list of music, I have everything from like classical stuff to movie scores to show tunes to um, punk, funk, blues, jazz, hip hop. I really do. I'm a real big old school hip hop fan. I'm liking a lot of the new stuff too. Like
Mhm.
and stuff that really makes you think and just opens your mind when you just listen and just sit back and chill and
Mhm.
I could go on about that, but then this would go on for another 5 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that hip hop and punk rock is tied really closely together.
Yeah. hmm I
Yeah,
think they're both inherently political.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I really want to go down to see Run the Jewels along with Wu-Tang Clan. That's gonna be an
Mhm.
amazing show. But
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds rad.
yeah,
I
just
do still love a lot
overall,
of Run the Jewels songs. Just that one that was on that Dax commercial where I was just like, God damn it, you
yeah.
guys. Oh, you're killing me
But
here.
the almighty dollar calls sometimes. It
I
really
know.
does.
It's
And
my
Killer Mike hanging out with that Coke guy, the Coke cousin, or whoever the fuck he is.
Chase
Yeah.
Cook. It's
It's,
one of his
oh, come
sons. I
on,
don't know.
man. Killer
Um,
Mike. You're supposed to be anti-capitalist, man.
Uh,
What's going on?
he's soft ones. He got
I hope
soft,
the
man.
paycheck was worth it.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things I've ever seen Prince do is the solo in My Guitar Gently Weeps at the
Yes,
George
where
Harrison
he just
tribute.
walks up there like,
Walks on the
guys, let me
stage,
show
plays
you
that
how it's done.
badass fucking solo, says fuck off and leaves the stage. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, he just walks right
It's
in front of everybody. He's like, let me
yeah,
show you how it's done. And then he
brilliant.
walks off
Beautiful.
and still playing
Yeah,
it.
That's
so
awesome.
good. And also Simon Le Bon is probably the best rock star name in existence.
Yes.
I
He
can't think of a
he
more
did
fucking
have his
rock star
moments of
name.
being a pretentious ass, but
Yeah,
he was just above and beyond.
yeah,
Just yeah, and like I said, I have all sorts. And if you want me to come back and just talk music again sometime, I'd say,
Yeah.
let me tell you about this one. Let me tell you about
fuck
this.
yeah.
I just have three more quick questions. So I got to know top
Sounds
five
good.
punk bands. If you had to name
Okay.
five punk bands that are your favorite, what are your top five?
Okay, Bad Religion, band called Death, the Bubble Boys out of KC. Got to give my props to them because they're my from as far as the local music, they're my favorite of the punk bands.
Mhm.
Absolutely love them. The Dead Kennedys. That's tough to say because there are so many great ones out there now, punk bands, and I would say because they are ones who truly fit that pop punk mold. And this is a great band from the 90s, which was the Smoking Popes.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
So yeah, that's I absolutely love those guys
Mhm.
What's your favorite genre of punk? Subgenre, I guess.
because of the time period I lived in, skate punk. I just couldn't get into crust.
Yeah.
I tried, I could.
Yeah, I mean it's it's not for everybody.
It's an
Yeah.
acquired taste.
It
It's like
is.
blue
It's
cheese. Some
it's an
people love it and
acquired
some people
smell.
just don't care about it. Have you ever heard the shit split between, okay. Do you prefer the filth or the blat side of the shit split?
Black side.
Fuck
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Look, I'm not saying
I
that
mean,
there is a
I
right
could see
answer.
that coming, especially since you don't like crust. I mean, that's the
Right.
I mean, I don't even know that I would call the Phil side crust, but it's definitely crustier than
Well,
Yeah.
then
Blatz.
blats, yeah. Look, there's not a correct answer, but that is, if
Right,
there
yeah.
were a correct answer, that would be the correct answer.
That's the podcast correct answer.
That's the right. And then I guess the last thing I have is, does your band have a website? Where can people find you?
We don't have a main website per se, but if they want to, I'd say just go to our link tree. That'd be
Okay.
Oh,
link.tr.ee and then / Hey Radio Band.
Okay. Can you
Because we have all
send
of
that
our
to us
social
in
content.
chat or something, and we'll put it on the
Yeah.
description.
Yeah, let me go top that right here because we have every one of our
Oh,
socials
nice.
are out there.
Oh,
okay.
cool.
Red.
Because I was trying to find you guys and listen to you before tonight, and I did find you
Yeah.
guys on YouTube. I am now one of your subscribers, one of your, I forget how many,
Nice.
but I'm one of them now.
Oh, right on.
So,
Because yeah, one of the things is we have recorded a couple of covers as well, punk covers.
Mhm.
Like one of them is we did that like 6 years ago, I think. It was
Mhm.
Black Friday release we did, and that's our cover of Backstreet Boys Everybody, which is our
I heard
closing
that.
song of it.
Yeah,
But we
that's great.
also for the Bangers album we did a cover of Tell It to My Heart by Taylor Dane.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
And it's a really
Yeah,
fun one. It's that one too. But
yeah.
yeah, if the people go to our link tree, they'll be able to they'll definitely be able to check our stuff out on there
Awesome.
and see
Cool.
Awesome.
like
Yeah.
we've got like our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all those, just everything's on that.
Mhm.
So
And I did see you guys' YouTube short, and I noticed you were wearing a LeVar Burton shirt. So I have to ask,
yes,
are you a
there.
Trekkie?
And it's also a Read Band Books.
Yes, that which is awesome. But I always got to know who my fellow Trekkies are. I got to know. I'm a
Yes,
huge Trekkie,
yes,
so
big time, big time.
yeah. So I saw the LeVar Burton shirt, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
I am that, and I am an absolute just comic book nerd and fanboy and everything. In fact, if
Nice,
you were, like on my desk when I was at the public school, I had my giant Kobayashi's Black Panther statue, like the
nice.
comic alliteration one. This is one of like 2,500 statues
Oh
they
wow.
made of both of those. So yeah, it cost me a pretty penny, and I'm happy for it. But
Hmm.
yeah, but yeah, if people want to check this out on that, that'd be awesome. We have some new music coming out. Like I said, new music coming soon. We're working on some. Um, we have now the thing with the Vanful and Nun shows, we are required to have a couple of covers on that show because everybody has to do that with their thing. It's part of their rider. With if you're on the show, you have to do this. So like,
Huh.
sure. So we are
Do
going
they
to be
tell you which covers?
say again.
Do they tell you what covers, or just that you have to do some
But
covers?
we do have to let them know that way that we're not playing one that anybody else is doing because
Okay.
they do a lot of like their pop punk and
Uh-huh.
emo type covers. But of course, of course, we're doing everybody. That's closer,
Mhm.
but we are going to be debuting another one,
Okay.
and I'm not going to say what it is, but I want people to come to the show and
Uh-huh.
see it. They're definitely going to love it,
Nice.
and
Awesome.
it's another '80s tune. So yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Nice. That's awesome. I think, and God, I wish I could remember what band did this. They're like a pop punk band that they played in Lawrence sometimes, like a long time ago, and they did a perfect cover of Belle Biv DeVoe's "Poison."
Mm,
Not even a punk version. They just straight up covered it, and it
nice.
was.
Who the
Jeremy, you
fuck
remember
did
seeing
that?
that? I don't remember. I don't
I
remember
mean,
what they were called.
it sounds like something Sufi Nun Squad would do, but they wouldn't do a straight up cover of it. They would do
No, yeah,
something
it
silly.
wasn't Sufi Nun Squad because I knew who they were. This is
Um,
a band I didn't know who they were.
no, I have no idea then. I mean, if you
I
don't know
think
who
you
they
were
were,
at the show. I think you were there.
probably I was probably wasted. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember
probably.
shit.
Yeah, and I just remember, um, like I just busted out into my dancing, and I thought I was crushing it. I was probably dancing horribly,
No,
but
you're
I
a
was
good
also
dancer.
drunk. I'm an amazing dancer.
Yeah.
Any other questions I would have would probably be along the Buffy and Star Trek lines, but
And that's another one of those that we'd be going on forever because
Yeah.
right.
when it comes to
Mhm.
the Buffyverse, I am like
Ah, yeah.
questions I will answer.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
I am your ringer for trivia on that. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Supposedly there's a new series coming out, and Sarah Michelle Gellar has agreed to be on it, which she said she would never do because nobody could ever do it right. But she
Mhm.
read some of it and said that it's really, really good. So she'll be involved.
Yeah. I thought
Joss
you were
Whedon
going to
is
tell me
not
that.
involved.
I thought you were going to tell me that she read that Joss Whedon was not involved and was like, okay, I'll fucking do it.
ah,
Yeah, that might have something to do with it also. Never, there are no
us.
heroes.
Two of my favorite shows ever, Buffy the
Yeah.
Vampire Slayer and Firefly.
Mhm.
That motherfucker.
Ian, I really appreciate your time tonight, and coming on and chatting with us and telling us about yourself and your experience in the punk scene and all that shit. It was great having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
And
And
if I can leave with one message, is just remember that what real punk is about community, is about togetherness, and it's about a love for the music and always looking out for each other.
fuck yeah.
We can't forget that. We gotta come together in this day and age, especially because they're they're trying to destroy what we've created, which was it's his family, and we
Yep,
gotta
for
remember.
sure.
Hey, thanks,
All
guys.
right. Appreciate
All
it. Take
right.
it easy, man.
Talk to you later.
Night.
Bye. Thanks again, Ian, for being here tonight. And everybody, please make sure to visit their link tree. It's going to be in our description. So you can just click the link there and go listen to some of Hey Radio's music. And don't forget to go to our website, www.prairiepunkpress.com. You can find all of our socials there and links to our YouTube channel, our other podcast, Punk Movie Review. And you can listen to our latest episode, which is a band called Death, our review of that. So do that. Subscribe to our other podcasts. Subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends and tell your family. I don't tell anybody who would listen, really.
Maybe we should make a link tree.
I mean, we already have that on our website, I guess.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Our website is our link tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know Linktree existed. So
Okay.
yeah, but now I know. But yeah, go listen to Hey Radio. If you live in the Wichita area, go see them live when you can.
And I'd like to thank our patrons, Mr. Power, Alec, Chris, and Adam. Thanks, guys. I promise I'm going to get you buttons. I promise. Sometime. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'll give you multiple buttons.
Mm-hmm.
I promise.
I'd like to make t-shirts at some point, but
yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't know.
at some point when we have money for that,
if we ever reach a point where we at least like come close to breaking even, then we can do that. We're not there for sure. Yet. Yeah.
But yeah, we want to do it. I mean, have lots of ideas. So yeah, thanks for listening. I'm going to go to bed and get up at 5.
That sounds terrible.
In the morning.
I'm going to get up at 7.
Probably because you're a poser.
Yeah. Do only posers get up at 7?
I don't know.
There was a time where I'd go to bed at 7.
Yeah, those were never fun nights, though.
No, they weren't.
No, there was always a terrible circumstance that led to being up until 7 a.m. Even if it seemed fun at the time,
it did. It was a blast
until the next day when you woke up and wanted to die.
Yeah, at 3 p.m.
You
have to be at work at 3:30 p.m. Yeah.
Fun. Bye.
All right, bye everybody.